Insights with Terri Ep.157 a weekly look through the eyes of predictive astrologer Terri Ep.157. Here's Terri.
Hi everyone, this is Terri, and you're listening to Insights with Terri Ep.157. We will be discussing the week of February the 18th through the 25th, 2024. Thanks for joining me. When I'm making this recording, it is really cold outside. It's gray, it's dreary, and it's cold. I think so many of the animals, so many of us are, even though the winter hasn't been as severe as it has been in other parts, I think we're ready to see a little bit of sunshine. And let's hope some of the sunshine comes to us in our mind, at least, maybe by putting on some music, or if you like poetry, reading poetry, or a good book, or a real good movie that touches your heart. We may have to fabricate some of our own sunshine just to get us through until it really happens. Now, we're still in a bit of the Aquarian energy that I've been talking about for the last few weeks. The Aquarian energy is still in the sun sign. This week that I'm talking about right now is the 18th through the 25th of February. So the sun sign is going to change from Aquarius to Pisces on the 20th. So a couple more days from now, we'll have that energy raining down on our heads. And it's a very sensitive energy. It really contributes to that good gut hunch, or it feels like, or this is what my impression is. So a lot of sensitive energy, psychic energy, is going to be floating around. Now we have to be careful of that, in that as things start to change, this is a good time to self-evaluate and to look at maybe somebody that you trust as far as their opinion, bounce some ideas off, just to make sure we're staying in the middle of the road. Pisces energy is water, right? And wind from air, from the Aquarian energy, and then that water energy from Pisces coming in, and it's also going to come in Mercury, which is how we think and how we communicate. So we have wind and water, and that can whip up some real snappy little white clouds and white water and rapid type of energy changes, and you may feel pushed. You may feel like something's windy at your back, pushing you forward. Maybe not feeling like you want to go forward, but being pushed anyway. So just be aware of that. I'm not going to say resist it necessarily. Maybe the universe is pushing you forward. Or maybe you just need to tread water and have a couple of those waves slap you in the face and wake you up. All of us are different. All of us have different places that we are at in our lives. So it's just something that you need to look at yourself. Spend a moment doing that. That Pisces energy will give you a bit of an insight as to how the temperature in the room is, what the people around you are feeling. As long as we try to stay that balanced type of energy, just so we don't get weighted down in that fluid, lack of boundaries. Water has no boundaries. And so you just want to look at, what am I doing? What am I thinking? Am I being sensible here? Venus, the planet of love and beauty, is still in Aquarius and will be for this week for sure. And then we have Mars, which is the planet of our drive and our passion. That is in Aquarius too. Now, Charlie O'Brien, in his generosity, has put up our website, www.terriworld.com, and has archived about 4 or 5 of the previous podcasts, so that we can, if we forget or we want to go back and kind of just tune in, we can look and revisit that, just to say, am I building a good foundation? Do I really understand what's in store for me, or where the planets are? It's a nice little brush up. I will do that with movies. Maybe I haven't visited that movie in a while, and I'll look at the precursor, and it just kind of tunes me back up, gives me an idea of what happened. When I shut it off, I didn't think I'd ever forget what happened, because I was so anxious to find out what happened. but sometimes we just need to revisit it and to get our minds back where we were when we left off. And that's what this Aquarian energy is also going to help us do as we move into Pisces, because we're at the end of the zodiac, moving towards brand new futures, brand new year, brand new experiences, and that's something that we're supposed to embrace. Now, the number that's been given to us in conjunction with where the planets are is the number 1. That comes up quite a bit. I'm surprised at how many times it comes up. And I do have an awful lot of clients that really do like to share with me, thankfully, the numbers that come up in their lives. And they get a lot of 1111s, 11s, always asking what those numbers mean. Google has a real good influx of information on angel numbers, so if you're interested in it yourself, that would be a place I would go to if you didn't have access to anything else. And the number 1 is leaders, right? Number 1, leader. It's about courage, it's about inspiration, it's about creativity and being active in the creativity, which is what Aquarian energy had been trying to pass on to us. It's about initiative. It's about having the determination to succeed, to really want to put the effort in to win, to dominate some of our circumstances. Not domineering, but dominate some of the circumstance. Praise will feel good. We're going to have some Leo energy towards the middle of the week in the moon. Leo likes to roar. Leo feels good when other people appreciate them, when what they've done goes noticed. Praise. All of that is something that will go a long way this week. So if you find something good that you can say to another person about another person in sincerity, that can go a real long way. I would spend some time looking at that. The weakness of number 1 just on its own is possibly a superiority complex. Leos can get a little bit full of themselves, those lions. And instead of being determined, we could lean on stubbornness, which really doesn't work. Being stubborn just for the sake of digging in, not being able to listen to other people's opinions or suggestions can lead to people that have no room for anything but their own opinion. Sadly, I can think of some politicians that would apply to. The weakness as well of number 1 is being hesitant and maybe having difficulty in knowing what our way is, or doing things our own way, or trying to find what our own way is. So that's the weakness of number 1. But we want to err on the side of courage and creativity, all of that energy, the initiative, the determination to succeed. That's what I want to plug into. Now, our health this week, the vulnerability will be the stomach. That will be the biggest part. Now, some people, because this is so general, right? Some people, it may be their heart, their aorta, with that combining with that lion energy the middle of the week. So if you're weak in that area, don't push it. If you have high blood pressure, low blood pressure, blood circulation issues, don't push it. But mainly, the focus on vulnerability will be the stomach and the pancreas, the small intestine, your digestive tract. So be good to that. This is an energy field that really shines if we're not eating right and our biotherm is off. It's really going to bring that to our attention. And you know, it's hard enough getting a day behind us feeling good when we don't feel good and we have to push, and it takes so much energy just to stand. It's not so much fun. So it's much, much better if we take that moment to just thoughtfully decide what we're putting in our mouth, and is this a thing for us. This isn't as much the anti-inflammatory time that when Capricorn visits us really strongly. This is more digestive tract and trying to sort out. Everybody's different. Trying to sort out what works for us and what doesn't. So the universe is going to offer you suggestions. A real good example of that, not wanting to divert it to myself, but a good example of that. I love sugar. I love sugar. I love sugar. but I'm not tolerant of it. Maybe the way some people aren't tolerant of lactose. It doesn't take much to make my joints hurt, to make me feel that my body is heavy, that going up the stairs is a great effort. It takes the energy away. I don't have the zip, the drive. So if I overindulge in sugar, I'm maybe 3 or 4 days struggling with just not feeling well. So rather than put that in to your mouth for 10 minutes and then having to struggle for 3 or 4 days, wouldn't it be more prudent on my part to just say, do I need this right now? Maybe I can have a prune or an apricot or something sweet that isn't debilitating. So that's what they're going to ask us to look at, and they're going to give us the information, feedback, biofeedback. So if you're not feeling well, why aren't you feeling well? It's the time to look at it and make some changes. Now, I pulled a couple of cards for us. The first and most powerful card is the card of strength. That's moral force. It's a major card. It wants us to find our self-confidence and use it. It wants us to get in touch with that inner strength that we have. It calls us to action. It wants us to get tapped into the power of conviction. So with my little episode with sugar this week, I am very convinced that I shouldn't be taking it, even more so than I was last week. So I will be a little bit more determined, a little bit more strong-minded to do it. The universe is going to offer us all some circumstances that will challenge your determination, your inner strength, your power of conviction. Are you all in, or are you wobbly? I think when we even look at our politics, I can see this starting to build as well. How convinced are you that you will stand up when it's right and not fold when it's wrong? Just very quickly, PFAS, which is a polymer that it's there for life. It's a microplastic that they're finding in the water, and I don't mean to be a downer. They're finding in the water, they're finding in animal muscle, they're finding it in the plants. It comes from plants like Triad in the States, many plants, not just them, that make the polymer coatings for wires, for our electrical things, a myriad of things. The leftovers of this, I don't know how it happened, it started in the 70s, was deemed innocuous. Now they're finding it's 100% carcinogenic. Very concentrated in Michigan, and the government allowed us to use it, farmers, I mean, in fertilizer. So instead of having to pay maybe $30,000 for your fertilizer for a year, they were given clearance by the American government to use it as a waste that was also nutrient rich in some areas. So now it's in the food chain, but it's not just our food chain, it is all over the world. Now, a couple of farms have been tested in Michigan, around China, Michigan, and now they've been waiting for 2 years. They can't sell their beef, they can't grow anything on the land, the government doesn't know what to do, they can't shut the plant down. Our first thing would say, let's shut this plant down. They can't because money, right? It's a feeder plant for Chryslers and Fords. Thousands and thousands of people would be immediately out of work. Immediately, like the next day, with no hope to return. Now, this man sacrificed his farm. He's on the verge of suicide, and that's the truth. His cows are still having babies. The government is going to destroy them. They've been at it for 1.5 years trying to figure out what to do because there is no solution right now. People are upset, they're scared, their children are getting sick. Now, we don't hear much about it. I mean, you can go to YouTube and find it out if you want to search it out. But we don't hear a lot about it because it's hushed. This is where the silence is. This is where silence kills. This is where silence allows people that are weak in moral fortitude to take over because they're not silent. And that's what I think this card of strength is all about. It's about pulling in And just like Navalny gave his life, how many of us could do that? I don't know that I could do that. For something that he believed in Russia. He believed in the rightness of things, and he paid the ultimate price, which is his life. And so we're coming to that in little parts of our own lives, and we're coming to that in parts when we see outside of ourselves, in the government, in industry, in water, in sewage, in, oh gosh, so many things. It can be overwhelming. And the card of victory came up. It came up upside down. But in between the card of victory and the card of strength is the Queen of Hearts, which is we have to look inside of our heart and say, what are we willing to sell ourselves for? What are we willing to sacrifice ourselves for? How much do we want to know and how much do we not want to know? It's so much easier to not know and just go on our merry way and then complain when we get thyroid cancer or any myriad of things that are afflicting so many of us and our animals. Now, our animals are going through it too because they're drinking the same water we are and they're in the same food chain that we are. And there's a lot of problems in that. So I guess there is no solution, but maybe one of the tools that we have, being that the stomach is the thing that they're talking to us about, and the pancreas and the small intestine and the digestive tract that they want us to look at, is maybe we could start growing some of our own food in soil that hasn't been contaminated, if we can even find that. Or just taking more responsibility for feeding ourselves and not going so much with the processed types of food and looking at more whole foods, more foods that have living organisms themselves. Like an apple has its own biotherm, anything that's living. So I think that's what they're trying to get us to look at, is what can we change, what can't we change, what does our silence by not saying anything increase, how much inner strength do we have individually and collectively to look at it and just maybe be aware of what's going on. And to love, because that victory is upside down, but it's on the table, which means success, but delayed success, which means it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be right there. We have to keep working at this to get our planet right again, to work towards a harder solution, but a better solution, both in our own particular lives and our family and our job, and our politics and our government and our cities, everything. So I leave you with that thought, kids. What can you change, no matter how small it is, in your own life that might contribute to somebody else doing a change, and that might change, and then another change and another change, until, good heavens, we might all just be right on the brink of turning that victory card right side up, not upside down. Wouldn't that be nice? So for a change of pace, maybe as cold as it is outside, dress warm, bundle up, and take your dogs out for a walk, get some fresh air, shake off the blues and the gray that's out there, and just get that blood churning, that blood circulation, your heart pumping in a good way. Don't kill yourself. And just enjoy what fresh air you can. Look at what's around you. What can I fix? What can't I? What am I willing to live with? And what do I want to change? What will I stand up for? Or what do I don't care about? That's what we're supposed to be thinking about this week. Again, big thanks to Charlie O'Brien for doing all the work on putting our podcast up and putting us on all of the platforms, on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon Music Podcast, SoundCloud, YouTube. He gives me the link, and then I'll put it up on Facebook for everybody. If you have any digital needs, give Charlie a boo, because he is amazing at it. And if you would like a reading for yourself, where I can hone in on your life specifically, not make it so general, feel free to text or call 519-726-6699, or you can email me at terri.coutts@gmail.com. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. Have a good week. You make it good. You pull it and make it good. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Visit Terri's website at terriworld.com. TERRI world.com.